I'll write this big old thing. So 20 beats a minute slower than what you maxed out on with, I believe it was number 3 from last week. Or at least this type of pattern. So you got 2 weeks. Definitely you can take your time with this if you want to work on getting like 2 bars at a time up to speed, and then like a whole line at a time up to speed. That's fine. But the goal here is to be able to play the whole thing 100% accurate at 180. So this way it's pushing the endurance, pushing you so you're close to that breaking point where you can't get any faster. So you're just getting used to playing at that particular speed and just getting more comfortable with it. So yeah, I for the most part, like you asked today, ring finger is going to be ending a lot of these phrases, and I'm looking at this as like 2 bars for a whole phrase. So this way, like every time you go back to the E string, you just started the next phrase. That's how I'm looking at it. So most of the time, you end a phrase with your ring finger. There's a couple spots you'll do it with the pinky, but it's totally doable as far as being able to switch to the new phrase with the pinky as well. It might take a second or a few tries to get the hang of it, but it's just like moving a chord really quick. You know, you just gotta, if you're moving a power chord really fast, you're still using the same set of fingers. So it's kind of the same idea here. So, you know what? I'm not going to completely throw myself into this because I have not practiced this at all. I think I'm going to try and do myself a favor here, and I'm going to play it a little bit slower first. 120. Let's see if I can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. I'm going to go to 140 next. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that was a good pinch. Tasty one. 160. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo! 2 in a row. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was not that good of a pinch. What a shame. Okay. Number 2 is... Hang on, I'm going to change this. Doing your basic go up in 5s every time you get it right. So if you get, when you have 3 days in a row where you're stuck on this, let me know. I will have my laptop with me, so I might be able to get back to some people before I come back. So the latest I get back to anybody will be on the 14th, because that's when I'll be back in town. I'm flying in on the 13th, but I'm getting in kind of late. Anyway, let's demo some various speeds here. 60. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not my favorite pinch. I better knock it off, because then I'll start screwing up if I keep trying to throw in pinch harmonics. 120, 1, 2, 3, 4. That was terrible. 1, 2, 3. What the hell? 160. 1. Hang on. There we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you may want to emphasize the downbeat throughout this whole thing. It's like just try and give it a little bit of oomph, a little bit of arm, perhaps. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that can help you feel the beat a little bit better. 200, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do 220 as well. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The theory stuff to do this week, or the next couple weeks, and this will help you understand, hopefully help you understand the mode stuff better. One moment, please. Okay, here we go. So, the goal here is to write out all your modes, all starting on A. You can use the scale sheet stuff that you have, such as the sheet that had all your key of C, all those scale shapes, as you know now. You have the one from last time, where you have the scales diagrammed with the interval numbers instead of the dots. So, if you really want to get the most out of this, what you want to do is change that Ionian mode just by looking at that. What the heck am I talking about? So the Ionian mode, you don't have any odd intervals, or in other words, any unique intervals like you do with Dorian, Phrygian, and basically all of these modes. So remember, when you deviate from the Ionian mode, that's when you get flat intervals or sharp intervals. So you're basically counting up here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it starts over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Starts again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's as high up as we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it doesn't complete a full third octave. It goes up 2 octaves, begins a third, and we run out of room. So I counted them up that way because that's what you're going to look at when you're changing things to the next mode. So Dorian, you got a flat 3. You got a flat 7. So what you're going to do is you take that Ionian mode and you're going to fill in the dots as you go. So it's basically like you have the Dorian modes also starting with the 1. So let's see, I gotta remember how the heck I did this. It's been a long time, so I use this. I use that, I think. Let's see, is that big enough? It is. Okay, so the 1 is the same. Next note, you have the 2. That's the same. 3 is here, but we need a flat 3. So you're going to, instead of playing the third interval, which would be on the 9th fret here, you flat it. So now you got your flat 3. And then we continue on. So 4, Dorian also has 4, so that's going to be in the same place. 5, Dorian also has a perfect 5th. That stays in the same place. 6, also the same. But next we have a flat 7. So instead of playing 7th interval, which would be 6th fret on the D string, we got to flat that. So now it's going to be here. And then you just continue on like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Basically, you compare the Ionian mode and you just change some of those intervals that are in the Ionian mode to get the new mode. Basically, when you count through the Ionian mode, in order to make it Dorian, every time you come to the 3rd interval in that Ionian mode, flat it. Every time you come to the 7th interval in that Ionian mode, flat that as well. That will make it a Dorian mode. So, an easy one here, Lydian, it's got a sharp 4. Every time you come to the 4th note in the Ionian mode, sharp it. Raise it up a half step. And remember, you're only counting up to 7. It's always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Starts again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Starts again. So, if you have any questions what to do there, let me know. So you can do Microsoft Paint like I just did. You print it out, fill in the dots manually, or I recommend a pencil. If you don't have one, like me, I really need to buy pencils and erasers for the few people that still come to me. And stop relying on whiteout. So if you got whiteout, have at it with a pen. And then once you have things done, if you'd like to send it to me before the next class, that's fine. I'll respond as soon as I can. Again, at the latest, it'll be the 14th. So yeah, doing stuff like that will help you see the modes better, I feel. And then learn it. Send me what you get first before you start memorizing the modes, all starting on A, because just play it safe. We just want to double check things, make sure it's all good there, because there's always a chance a goof could happen. We just want to make sure it's right, so this way you're not learning the wrong thing. But doing this, being able to play each individual mode shape, all starting in the same spot, it separates them from being all in one key. And you can hear the modes a lot better when you always start on the same tonal center. In this case, starting everything on an A note. So when you go scale or mode after mode after mode in one key, it just sounds like you're climbing higher and higher in key. It doesn't really sound like you're playing a new mode, because our ears are just hearing it as like this big, long ascending thing. But if you start every mode on the same starting point, then our ears can start to hear the different modes, the different changes within the note structure. So, and again, to answer the question, what do you want to focus on in order to memorize mode stuff? Focus on the unique intervals that make each mode what they are. So, Dorian is a flat 3, flat 7. Phrygian is a flat 2, flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. Phrygian, the big characteristic there is that flat second. So if you just did stuff where you just played like E to an F, that's going to sound Phrygian, even power chord wise. Obviously, other intervals can help it sound more unique, but that's a very standard characteristic of that Phrygian mode sound. And then, yeah, Lydian, this one's a convenient one. It's the 4th mode found in your major key, and it has a sharp 4 interval. So, the 4th mode manipulates the 4th interval. Mixed Lydian just has the flat 7, so that's a pretty easy one to remember as well, because you only have one interval that is different from the Ionian. And then Aeolian, your natural minor scale, flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. Often the Dorian mode is compared to the Aeolian mode because that flat third and the flat 7 is present in both Aeolian and Dorian. So people will talk about, well, if you want it to sound Dorian, you take a minor scale, you raise the 6th note up. Which would be true, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 notes there. I didn't say the flat intervals and whatnot. I'm just counting how many notes we're going. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you raise that 6th one up, that'll make it sound Dorian versus making it minor again. Back to Dorian. So, we can go into that in more detail next time, but that's the general idea. It's just people will compare Aeolian or the minor scale to Dorian, and yeah, it's just a matter of changing the flat 6 to a natural 6, or major 6 is another way of calling it. So a natural 6 is a major 6th interval. Same thing. Anyway, Locrian I find is also fairly easy to remember because everything except the 4th interval is flat. It goes without saying that the 1 is not flat, because if you flat the 1, you have a new 1. And in case you ever come across something, and I have seen this as like something like a Mixolydian sharp 1, I kind of rolled my eyes when I saw it. I was like, yeah, I get it. They're just taking a Mixolydian mode, like the one you know is G Mixolydian, and they're just raising the first note up, so it would be this instead, which is basically playing an A harmonic minor. Yeah, I get what they were talking about. But I still say, if you raise up the 1, you got a new 1. That's the starting point. But anyway, yeah. If you did have a flat 4 in the Locrian mode, I believe that's called the Super Locrian. I think it's also in harmonic minor. But anyway, we're not there yet. Trying to think if there's anything else to add to this, but I think that's about it. So yeah, just send me your work when you can. I'll let you know if everything is correct, and when it is all correct, start memorizing things starting on that A note, so this way you can see the modes separated, and that's going to help a lot when you play in new keys. So this way you can think of it like, here's this mode, this is the next mode, this is the next mode, so you can see things separate as well as together, you know. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Again, if you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you again in 2 weeks.